Happy New Year, guys! This is the first podcast in the new year 2019. I'm Mario, and here with me, as always, is Whooper.
That's me.
Today we're gonna do something of a special podcast, which we watched two movies from the 80s. They both from 1985 to be exact. So we're gonna review two of these movies: Night on the Galactic Railroad and Angel Eggs, and we're gonna get to the next volume of Flower of Evils before we review the 10 show that we're gonna preview for the next seasons.
Right.
So, Whooper, tell me how you feel about the two movies that we watch.
I don't feel great about them.
You don't feel great about them, yeah.
I thought Night on the Galactic Railroad was okay.
Yeah.
It held my attention, and I thought Angel's Egg was just like unbelievably dumb. And I the whole time it was in front of my face on my monitor, I was like, well, after I got, let's say, 10 or 15 minutes in, I was just constantly thinking, like, when will this be over? When will this be over? How about you?
All right, I enjoy those two movies actually. Like Angel Egg, I just love it. You know, I it's held my attention from start to finish.
Nice.
Then the nice fact is that the two movies now is considered a cult classics, even like to anime and to like the movies medium. They are released from the same year, and my first impression when I watched the two movies is that they are something that you don't see today, like aesthetically.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice to see something like like you know for sure that they can't do it today.
Yeah, especially since the winter 2019 season is coming up, and
Right.
we're gonna be watching a whole bunch of really modern looking TV anime that is often produced on very rushed schedules,
Mhm.
and with something like Angel's Egg, for example, and Night on the Galactic Railroad too. You can tell that these were labors of love,
Yep.
at least in that a lot of time was spent crafting them. So
Yep.
yeah, it's a refreshing change of pace. Although I don't know if I would use the phrase change of pace to describe anything about Angel's Egg. It's like all the same, very slow pace. But
Well,
some people love that sort of thing.
yep. And they are come from the directors or authors that become more famous later on. So this is like their first phrase. They're like experimental phrase before they become a big thing.
I mean, I know Oshii did Angel's Egg, and I know that I know about his filmography. I know he did like Pat Labor and The Ghost in the Shells and stuff. But
Right.
I didn't look into who directed Night on the Galactic Railroad.
He's something famous as well. I don't actually remember right now, so I gonna have a look now. Night on the. But I think he would later on direct something classic as well.
Ooh, he was a supervising director on Touch.
Touch. All
Yeah,
right.
the baseball. You know how like my favorite anime of all time is Cross Game.
Oh yeah,
Touch
yeah, yeah.
is from the
Yep.
same guy. It's from the 80s.
All right.
Oh, he check this out. He was a supervising director on Dororo.
All right. Yep.
And there's going to be a reboot of that or a remake or whatever this year. He was a supervising director on the one from the late 60s, the TV production. He worked on Astro Boy. Damn.
Yep. So here you go. All right.
Well,
So
that's an interesting coincidence that he did Dororo, and we're going to be discussing that next week.
and which one you want to talk about first?
I don't know. I kind of want to do Angel's Egg first because I didn't take any notes.
Alright.
I at least have some thoughts and some themes and things jotted down for Night on the Galactic Railroad, but
Yep.
Angel's Egg is like already leaking out of my brain.
Alright.
So let's do
So
that one first, I guess.
yeah, just let that out of the way first. Alright. For me, Angel Egg is like one of the most cinematic thing that I seen in anime,
I
and
suppose I'd
that's
agree with that.
that that say a lot. That like every single frame that you can just cut down and paste it on your wall, and it's look great. It look great like almost all the time.
Yeah,
Video.
I suppose that it does. There were a lot of really interesting shots and scenes, particularly anything that had to do with water, which was like the whole
Yep.
film.
Yep.
But the really slow segments where there was just like a chorus of voices screeching ominously in the background as like ripples move across the water.
and,
That's
and
those were actually interesting to watch. They're kind of hypnotic.
not it. Yep. And we actually have to see some of the scene that span out for like a minute or 2 minutes without even moving.
Are you
I
talking about the one where he sits in front of her bed?
Yeah, that's right. That's the one.
I actually timed it. It was 2 minutes and 3 seconds before the flame went out.
And before the big thing reveal, so I think it does have its purpose.
Yeah, I guess.
Um, so much so that I think people regarded Angel X more as a moving illustration m- more than an actual movie.
Yeah, I would definitely place myself in that camp, which is probably why I didn't like it very much because I
There's
value
not
story and character very highly.
Yeah, there's not much of a story to speak of, but there is a story. It's about a girl who carry an egg. We
Yeah.
we we aren't really sure that she an angel or is that an angel egg. It's just a title, but I, do we really know for sure what's in the egg?
I don't know. No, we don't know, do we? Do you know?
No, no, we don't. I don't for sure. I don't.
Well, we know what's in the like the bigger eggs that are supported by those plant-looking things.
All right.
You know what I'm talking about? In the film, there's like those massive eggs that are held up by those kind of plant-looking tendrils
I
that are in
don't
the
remember
background
that.
sometimes. There's like
All
little
right.
bird things
Yeah. All right.
in them. You remember this?
Uh huh. All right.
And there's a reference to birds
Yep. Mhm.
somewhere in the what is it? Oh, it's the scene where they've gone into like the skeleton of
Yep.
that gigantic fish or whatever it is.
I think
Um,
that's the bird. I think it's
oh, you
supposed to be. I think that's supposed to be a bird from from the Noah story that he told the girls about.
well the bird in the Noah story, the Noah's Ark story, is a dove, just a little tiny dove that
Oh
Noah
yeah.
sends out to try to
Hey,
find like a
yeah, that's
like a
right. That's right. Yep.
yeah.
Mm. All
But
right.
I mean that's not to say that the big carcass that they walk into isn't the body of a dead bird.
Mhm.
But I kind of thought it was like a fish,
Right.
perhaps one of the fish that whose shadows or whose ghosts we see moving
Yep.
throughout the city, with all
Yep.
the the fishermen trying to harpoon it.
Mhm.
Those scenes were like really, I don't know. There was a real lack of impact.
Mhm.
Even speaking literally, there was like a lack of impact because I thought the way it was going to work was the harpoons were going to strike the fish, like the shadow of the fish, and that was going to trap the shadow.
Mhm.
But it didn't work like that. It kept moving.
Yeah, I think it's more as a metaphor of how how people sometimes try to do like something useless, something that doesn't amount to anything.
Okay. Hmm.
That's what my take on that, but I don't know how it's relevant to the story though.
Well, is there really a story? I mean, the film follows a girl who
Yeah.
is caring for an egg. But can
Yeah.
you honestly say that like there is a story being told about that girl? We all she is the subject of the film. At least that's how I see it. Like, because we don't know
Well, the
what's in the egg. We don't know anything about her. We don't know anything about the guy who follows her around. We don't know what the deal is with that gigantic floating eye. Like that reminded me of Giant Robo, the
uh
big floating black orb
uh
thing.
yeah, yeah. It it does though. The skeleton remind me of the skeleton in the in um Shura Nobuto, Sound of the Sky.
I
Remember
did
on the
not. I didn't finish Sora
no,
no
no, no, no.
Moto.
That was on the first episode. Remember when the girl who got drawn on the first episode, and she saw like a skeleton of the bird, I think,
No,
like
I don't
underneath
remember
the
anything about it.
yeah underneath the ocean. That reminded me of that.
Huh.
Mm.
I remember them. I remember in maybe it was the first episode. I remember them going to some like abandoned city or something.
Yep.
Is
For
that what you're talking about?
no,
Or
no. On the first episode, is the girl who's supposed to be on in the team, but she just hanging around on. I think there was a festival happening at that time, and she got lost, and then she got drawn. Somehow she got drawn into that city, to that like river, and she saw like a massive skeletons of bird skeleton, like down
hmm,
under the seas.
okay. I uh I don't remember that.
Uh, yep, that
Maybe
all
maybe
that
they were inspired by Angel's Egg.
maybe. Yep. Do you know of the fact that during the production of Angel Egg, the directors Mamoru Oshii, he reportedly that he lost his faith in Christianity.
Uh no, I didn't know that.
All right, so that is something that that people usually relate it to when they talk about Angel Egg, because it's more even to the director himself, that he say that it's more about his expression at that time. So it he said like the movie itself is might not have any meaning, but it's more about how what he feel at that time, and his feeling about his loss, uh like the loss of faith is apparent in the movies.
How so?
All right. I there is a many of the many of the Christianity reference. So like the Noah Ark, and for me like the story itself, if there is a story again of like a girl who like make friend with that man, and then he betray her. It's more like it is more of the you know symbolism for betrayal.
What does that have to do with Christianity?
All right, so that's the loss of so that come to the loss of faith for me.
Oh, she loses her faith in him because he
He,
breaks the egg.
like she tried to believe into something, and then she got betrayed by that.
Right. So you're saying that God broke Mamoru Oshii's egg, and as a
Oh,
result, Angel's egg was born.
mm, well, if you put it that way, yes.
Okay.
And
Uh,
I think
I
it's
didn't. I
more.
didn't. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think it's more. It is more about this. I think that's why the story itself has many reference to the Noah, and how like in the end, like the very last shot in the end, that maybe they are still staying in some shot of the egg.
Yeah, that's the impression that I got when it kept zooming out and zooming out.
Yep.
By the third or fourth time it had done that, I recognized like there was kind of a slope upwards and then the slope downwards. That one half of the arc or boat or whatever it was dark. The
Hmm.
other one was light. Um, at that point, I was clued in, I guess, to the fact that it was supposed to be an arc.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but I don't know, just because it looks like an arc at the very end and that's where they were the whole time, and just because the story of Noah's Ark is recounted midway through the piece.
I I don't.
I didn't see many other Christian parallel. I mean, I was raised Christian, so I was on the lookout for that stuff, but
All right,
I didn't get a lot of parallels there.
because I see there's many like Christian imagery image during the film. So like even like the title as well, like Angel X, it's more of a Christianity, right?
I don't think so. I mean, angels certainly exist in Christian mythology, but
And
they do in many other belief systems as well.
all right,
I mean,
how
I suppose that the guy does carry a cross. He carries a little cross around with him.
yep,
The
that's
guy,
right.
the man, whatever,
Yep,
and he uses it, but he uses it as a weapon.
yep, yep, that's right. Um, how about is there any story for Christian about like people turning into the stone?
Turning into stone, yes, there is.
Is there any like parallel between those story and this one here? Because here at the end, supposedly that the girl and her egg turn into the stones.
They turn into stone.
Yeah, like in the end where the man actually see her as a stone,
Oh,
like
as part of the
the
that giant
sculpture.
orb thing, the giant
Yeah,
eye.
yeah, right.
That just because she appears there doesn't mean that she like turned to stone, right? We see
Uh,
her fall off that cliff, and
yep.
she drowns in the water,
Uh,
and then later she shows up. I mean, who's to say that's her having been like transformed? It's just
yeah,
it's the
well,
same image.
yeah, well, it just all the film left is very ambitious. So e- everything that we say now is just a guess. It's nothing concrete.
Yeah, it's frustratingly obtuse.
And even like when she fall into that cliff, she actually saw like a for me for I think it's like the older image of herself, like
I thought that
a
she transformed and became older.
oh, right. That makes sense. Well,
No, it doesn't. None of this
well,
makes sense.
um, actually that image remind me a lot of the original God in the Shell. The
What
image
part?
of her, like falling down the cliff, and then she saw like a older version of herself. So like there, we have like her on one side and the other version of herself on the other side. That reminded me of how the main character of God in the Shell, when she like swimming or something, like in the sea of like subconsciousness. I got
Yes,
that
I
image.
remember that scene now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did she see an older version of herself
that's
when
that's what I
she's
think. That's
diving?
that's what my take.
No, I mean in Ghost in the Shell, does the Major see an
Oh
older version of
no.
herself?
So that like yeah, the very image of herself. I think.
Okay. It's been a while since I've seen the original, the 95 Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Um, but this Angel's Egg did not remind me very much of Ghost in the Shell because I like the original.
Hmm.
Um, I like that film. This one I wasn't too crazy about because
Yeah.
I was trying to. I mean, I suppose it's best enjoyed just as like an
And it is.
experience
Yep.
as a as an animated kind of like an animation test almost like
Hmm.
just moving art.
Yep.
I mean, which is what every film is on some level, but most of them have stories that are a little more in your face, and the authors go to greater pains to, make clear.
Hmm.
This one, I was just like,
Abstract.
well, I had to approach it by like trying to brute force my way into it with I don't know, conscious reasoning. I couldn't just
Hmm.
sit back
Hmm.
and let it, or at least maybe this is just the way that I process things, but I couldn't just sit back and enjoy it as as a film,
Hmm.
as a piece of film. I was like, okay, so what's the story? What's happening here? Who's this person? How are
Hmm.
they significant? You know,
No,
so maybe
they
people who are better about that can get into it more than I can.
yeah. Well, I agree that there is no actual story to speak of. There is no act, not nothing developed whatsoever. But it just striking. It's just visually striking. It's like even like from the angle that they shot, they from the angle that like they draw actually it everything is inspiring.
Inspiring.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just so good. I think it's just so gorgeous.
Nice.
And
I'm glad you
what
liked
else?
it.
There is next to like it's have made it have very minimum dialogue, but whenever they actually have dialogue, it's bad. It just like they don't talk like real people at all. They don't
Well,
they
you wouldn't expect them to.
yeah, that's right.
This isn't the real world. You know, it's a it's just crazy. Like the layout of the city is nuts. They're on some kind of boat or something where there's just a city that's at a tiny part of it and it's underwater, but somehow the boat is also floating on the water. So how can it be underwater? It
uh,
doesn't. They're inside a giant fish or giant bird corpse at one point, and then there's a bunch of bottles in there that she's somehow found on this big old ark and
yeah,
lined up. It's just it's all just for everything that you see and everything every part of the quote unquote story is all engineered for like maximum visual impact.
yep. um there is like minimal character as well. So there's like only like two main characters. The only part that where they have like a lot of other character is the one where the whole sailors trying to chase the shadowfish, the shadowfishes. There are a lot of fishes,
Right. Yeah, I
and
wouldn't say they're exactly characters.
they look exactly the same, but um for whatever those mean, I still in the dark. I don't even know how that story related to the main story.
I don't know. I mean, the if I were to take a guess, I would say that there's some sort of commentary buried in there about mankind, like overusing its resources. So, for example, hunting these fish to extinction, and
Yep.
perhaps that's the reason that the world is in ruins now, is because
Yeah.
they've been too aggressively consuming the natural resources that are available to them, and they're still doing it even now
It
when everything is totally wrecked. They're still hunting like the ghosts of these fish that are totally gone because they've killed them
it
all.
it that is the case though. I think it make more sense that they like they actually catch the fishes. But here, from what we see, they just like all their effort is in vain.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, they're ghosts of men
Yeah.
chasing after ghosts of fishes or fish.
Yeah. Right.
So that
So
yeah,
like
they're not going to be capturing anything. It's all
so
it's kind of like the history, the brutality against nature that has brought the world to this point is just replaying over and over and over,
that
kind of
that I
echoing through time.
Wow, I think that actually make a lot of sense. Uh it's like the history of man versus nature. Like keep on going, it keep on repeating and keep on like projecting itself all over again. And maybe that's one of the reason why that they're having a knock act on the first place, because of how stupid people like becoming that
So then, what's the deal with the egg and the
the egg
girl? How do you
maybe.
what's
All
that meant
right,
to?
usually like the egg I think symbolize the new beginning. I not
Right.
not not in this case though. I don't think so, because it more something of. I think in this case it's more something of the microfilm device. It more
Yeah.
like something that the girl trying to subject all of her desire or of her hope into. and that's the guy who's supposedly trying to crush it
Why does he crush it?
because he want to know what inside the egg for one thing, and I think he want the girl to get real. So
He
that's
wants her
his
to do what?
he want the girl to like to not remain anymore. So like put on the face of reality to her.
Ah, I see.
Well, that
it's tough to prescribe that motive or
yeah.
ascribe that motive to his character though, because we don't know. I mean,
Mm,
maybe the cross-shaped weapon that he wields is a sign that he used to be some sort of military person, or maybe he still is, and he's like some sort of agent of the gigantic eye, and he moves from like
mm,
dimension to dimension. Because we see at the very beginning of the film, before we enter this like rain world, he's
mm.
in the checkered. Remember that at the very beginning, there's like that checkered pattern on the floor. It's like red and black.
Yep.
Before the color palette just becomes totally boring and
Hmm.
like monotone
Yep.
or
Yep. Yep.
monochrome, whatever.
Yep.
That was one of my main issues with the film. Was that it was all blue, like everything was blue or gray, whatever color you want to describe that as. So
That
when there was that scene in the church with the stained glass, I was like, oh yes, thank
some
goodness,
some colors.
yeah, some variety, because my eyeballs were like dying. They were screaming out in boredom.
All right. If you complain about the Plutos, watch the new show from Gohans. It's just totally blue.
Well, as is their style, right?
Yep. So, so yeah, there can be a lot of interpretation to this film, and not then again, nothing is for sure because the director himself never confirmed to anything. He even told that he himself doesn't know what the film is about.
Yeah, that's don't you feel like that's kind of a cop out? This all came from his mind and Amano, the other writer on the film.
Yep.
So, I mean, clearly they were inspired to make this
Yep.
like through some combination of influences that they could have elaborated on, but you know
Um,
they didn't.
all right. I from what the theory that I just said, remember that the guy he took some interest into the egg himself before, but
Right.
from what I remember, he always asking the girl that what inside the egg? Don't you want to know what inside the egg? So his real motive maybe his real motive had to be something with the egg, like
Yeah.
stealing the egg from the girl. But maybe his whole purpose is just to break that egg, so that's yeah, the girl can, can rely for herself, something for herself, and that something is something that we never know.
Well, the doesn't the girl emerge from that big the giant eyeball at the beginning of the film? Isn't she like asleep inside it and then she gets up out of it and leaves?
I'm not really sure about that,
You
so
remember the scene
I can't
where
comment.
she wakes up and goes up the steps? It's
Ye-
as the credits play.
Yep.
Yeah,
I I recall that, but I don't have any like real interpretation for that one.
yeah. How about this? When as she's dying, as she's drowning,
Yep.
as the adult version of her is drowning, and like all the bubbles come up out of her mouth. When they
Yep.
surface, they all become a bunch of eggs.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
Have absolutely no idea.
It's just it doesn't really truly like mean anything. At least not as far as I can tell. It just looks cool, and it kind of is cool in theory. And there aren't too many kinds of writing that I hate more than that.
All right. Pretentious, hey, and random as hell.
I wouldn't say that it's random because I'm sure it meant something to Oshii and Amano, but pretentious, yeah. I'd say this film's pretty pretentious.
Well, if I had to rate this show, I would say that it's like one of the top 10 anime films. My favorite top 10 anime film.
Awesome. It was probably in my bottom 10. This might be in my bottom 10 films
All
like of all
right.
time of any kind.
That's harsh.
I mean, if you were to take a bunch of, screen caps, just
Yep.
images,
Yep.
uh, and display them on a wall, like in a gallery
Yep.
from this film, I'd be like, oh damn, top 10 galleries I've ever been to. But then when you set it to music and and try to string it together
Yep.
in some sort of quote unquote story,
Hmm.
then it's bottom 10 galleries I've ever been to.
Well, well, well.
But it's gonna be that way, you know.
Yep.
It's not straightforward. It kind of defies interpretation,
Yep.
which is cool. And I'm not necessarily against that sort of thing.
Yep.
Um,
I'm glad that I finally have a chance to watch these two movies.
yeah.
They just so different. They just like aesthetically different from what we normally see.
Yeah.
Especially Angel Egg, where like I don't think now like people have a ball to actually like doing something like this as
Well, there's
as experimental as this.
I don't think there's a lot of room
Yep.
in anime for this to be done. Well, the thing is, like, I'm on the outside looking in. I don't know what happens in Japan's
Mm.
animation underground. Who knows? Like, the next Angel's Egg could be, maybe it's already happened, or maybe it's right around the corner, but it's coming from somewhere and is going to be displayed somewhere that we'll never find out about because
Hmm.
I don't know. We don't speak the language. We're not over there. We're not plugged in to what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah, but in general, it does seem like all of the money right now is tied up in TV anime and in
Mhm.
films that are continuations or spin-offs or reboots of TV franchises.
Yep.
And I don't know, like, I mean, the closest thing to something like this was probably you remember the Animator Expo in 2014?
All right. Yep.
There were like 35 short films that were all around eight
Yep.
minutes long. Like The Dragon Dentist was one of them before it got the two-part
Yep. Yep.
OVA.
Is
And
is that is that the one where the music video one of the uh
you're talking about Me, Me, Me.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Yep.
I think that might have been the latest, like the most recent uh, thing in this vein,
Yep.
that project. But that I think they received like special funding from. I was gonna say the government, but no, that's Anime Mirai.
Yep.
I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, but in general, yeah, it's stuff like this just doesn't really get made anymore.
Yep.
Not to my
And
knowledge.
Oshi, he also remake that because of this movie that he had been put off work for years. Like people don't want to give him work for years uh, until I think until got in the shell. So I I I I I I certainly wouldn't say that he deserved it, but well,
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, for him to make something so bold, and then
yep.
be told no, you can't work with us. Um, I don't know if that's necessarily the route you want to take as someone who's like bankrolling creative endeavors. What you want to
Mm.
do is get somebody like Oshi on your project, and
Yep.
then pair them with somebody who's gonna like not Amino, not just pair him with somebody who's a little more sensible and realistic, as opposed to somebody who's gonna let him run wild with whatever visions and ideas are swimming
No,
around
no,
in his
no.
head.
I like it this way, man. So I just hope that they're gonna be something just like this.
Hey, you're free to like this sort of thing. That's cool. I'm just speaking from the point of view of somebody with money
All right.
who is going to decide where to give their money and which creatives to back financially. You can still have Oshi on your team. You just need, you know, somebody else who's going to keep him in check.
All right. And imagine that this one has been released for like 35 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That is
Im-
pretty odd to think about.
yeah, impressive. All
All right,
right.
do you want to go to Night on the Galactic Railroad?
Yep. Let's do that. So Night on the Galactic Railroad.
All right, cool. This one had more of an up and down to it,
Yep.
more of a story.
Yep. All
We
right.
were
You.
clearly introduced to a character. We understand the context of his life. He goes on a journey, and he
Mhm.
returns home, having changed. It's kind of like the classic
Yep.
Campbellian story structure.
That's right. That's right. One thing that struck me is that they have even the animation style have have a very Western look on it.
Does it?
Yeah, for me, yes. For me,
Yeah, I guess it kind of does.
like all these, especially the background design, the design of the cities, design of like all the houses. It looked more like European style for me.
Yeah, well, the characters have Italian names,
Yeah, that's right.
so I suppose it's set in that at least with that setting in mind.
Yep.
That's how they decided to design
And
everything.
from what I heard, that Night of the Galactic Railroad, they have been adapted to many versions of anime before that, but this is like the first time it been famous, or rather like infamous, for having the characters as cats.
Right. Yeah.
So how do you think about the change? It had to be something significant for them to change, right?
I don't know how significant it is. I mean, I know what I've read online,
Yep.
but there's not much point in just repeating that here.
All right.
Like, do I feel as though it was important or significant, or what if it changed anything?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I guess. I mean, the main thing that it does, I think, is heighten the contrast between the main characters who are cats and the Titanic, the people who died on the Titanic when they come in later because they're human beings.
Yeah, that's the thing that I don't yet, because I don't see why like every other characters are cats, but like the victim from the Titanic is a human.
I think a lot of the story actually centers around them.
Around.
I think a lot of it around the humans, the victims of the Titanic crash. I think a lot of it is building
Oh,
up to the moment when Giovanni encounters them,
all right.
because there are so many bits of the film that reference the Titanic.
Oh, right. All right. Tell me more about that if you have something more.
The hymn "Nearer My God to Thee" that's referenced in the movie.
Yep. Uh-huh.
There's the woman, the cat lady who's dressed like a nun, I think, and
Mm-hmm.
she says it's hymn 306, and then there's I don't know what to call him, the old man with the cane who's blind.
Yep.
What do you call somebody who has his occupation where he hears the signals and has
Uh.
somebody transcribe them? He
Yeah.
works at a switchboard operator, something like that.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
know.
All right.
He when he gets the "Near My God to Thee" thing over the he I don't know what to call it, man. I don't know anything about that sort of technology, but that's what he hears, and he has what's the red cat's name? Campanella. He has
Yep.
Campanella
Capenella.
write it down. "Nearer My God to Thee" is the last song that was played on the Titanic.
Oh yeah.
The hymn, yeah. As it was sinking, it's reported that it was
Mm.
the last song that was played on the Titanic, and it's a song about wanting to get taken to heaven, rather than remaining on Earth,
Huh. Right.
which is, and that's like it's essentially asking to be delivered from like grief and death and be taken into the arms of God, and the whole
Mhm.
film is about death.
Yep.
Like you learn at the very end that Campanella has actually died.
Yep. Ron as
Um,
well.
Yes, drowned. And in fact, most of the deaths in the film are drowning.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
right.
Campanella dies, and that's why he's wet when he comes into the train.
Yep.
The little sparkly
Mm.
dots of white on the screen that are meant to represent like moisture, and
Yep.
also stars because there's a parallel being drawn between the river where Campanella drowns and the like the Milky Way galaxy.
Yep.
Then there's the deaths on the Titanic, many of which were from drowning, I assume. There's also the tale about the scorpion in the well.
Yeah.
He doesn't drown, but he's
he's
at the bottom of a well.
Yep.
And Giovanni's dad is most likely dead, having drowned, because he went on an expedition to the north.
Right.
Which is probably why the train comes for Giovanni, as a way of like bringing him closer to his father.
But he haven't met his father at all.
No, but his father is most likely dead, which is why the train that carries the dead to their final destination would come for Giovanni, because Giovanni wants nothing more than to be reunited with his dad.
But I heard like from in the end though, when he get back to his real life, there was a rumor that his dad gonna be back home soon.
Yeah, the guy just got a letter from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the cats it was like an adult cat who had like a monocle or something. He was dressed up in a suit. I don't know exactly what his role in the town was, but he remarks that he got a letter. But I think my theory is that his dad died like very recently, within the last perhaps at the moment that he passed away, the train came for Giovanni. I don't see any other reason for the train to come for him.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. But I think it makes more sense that Giovanni met his dad. If his dad died, like exactly the same way with Campanella.
Right. I see what you mean. But I think, yeah, perhaps that would be more satisfying. If he were to meet his dad. Already armed with the knowledge that his father had passed away. But the thing is, I don't think he knows yet. So I'm not sure he would be able to meet him, because on some level this is all taking place in his mind, like in his consciousness.
Well, he doesn't know about Campanella getting drowned out, right? Like
that's true.
Yeah, until later on.
Yeah,
but that's one thing interesting as well, because I remember like all these Titanic victims, they stop at the Heaven Gate, basically, so that
Southern
they can
Cross.
Southern Cross, yeah, thank you. So that they can get to the heaven. But Campanella though, he actually like go for another stop.
Right.
So he doesn't get to heaven.
Right.
Southern Cross. So
yeah, what is it that they call it, like that black hole looking thing that the train that's the next stop after the Southern Cross? They call it something like a crab something, or
yeah. I think they mentioned that, but I didn't take note.
Yeah, I didn't write that down either. I should have done that. But yeah, it's like a black hole, and Campanella, he walks through the train cars and he just like phases through. When he's on the very back of the caboose, he like phases through and disappears into the black hole, which is supposed to represent, like, I don't know, hell or just purgatory or the void of nothingness. Yeah. Who knows?
It's more. I think it's more like the parade, was one of the person who go to heaven, and the other one just like being destroyed and go to the vault of nothingness.
Right. That's sad that his friend had to be the one.
Yeah, that's sad. And like on the train, they impact into like many of these like little journeys. So they went into like one of these cities where no one's there. They saw like a is that they saw the they saw a expedition team who actually trying to dig up something.
Yeah, like the archaeologists.
I don't even remember what they're trying to dig up and what what this kid took it from.
It was a walnut.
That's the walnut. Right,
And they
right,
kept
right.
saying over and over, 1.2 million years old, 1.2 million years old.
Hmm.
And then the walnut, like as the train takes off again, the walnut disintegrates,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I
yeah.
think is meant to clue us into the fact that the train is traveling through time as well.
Hmm.
Which is why they can encounter the Titanic victims on the train,
Yep.
and Campanella can be there as well. They
Well,
die in two different time periods,
it
but the train's moving through time.
it actually happened on the same timeline, though, right? I mean, like the story itself set in the 1920s, from what I think.
Yeah, but the Titanic sank in 1912 or 1913.
12. All
It was
right.
definitely in the previous decade.
Yep. And then we have like the man who tried to catch the bird, the herons.
Yeah, that was so bizarre. That was the one part of the movie that I really couldn't fit into my overarching like interpretation of what was going on.
Um,
Him capturing the birds and turning them into candy. That specifically just totally baffled me.
yeah. I from what I think, his whole point is like catching the dreams, like following the dreams. I don't know. I don't know if he's dead or not. I think he's dead, and I don't know the reason why he's dead.
He's probably dead if he's on that train.
Yeah, that's right. That's the only thing that clue me in why he's dead.
But it
But
could be that he like I don't know. Let's assume that the train exists on some level of reality and isn't all just a figment of Giovanni's imagination. That means somebody needs to run the train. I mean, we already know that at
yep,
least one person works on it. The old blind man.
yep.
So perhaps like this guy's occupation is he's like a heron candy salesman, and the only way you get it is to get on board this train,
And get
this
out of it.
interdimensional train. Yeah,
Yep.
so you can get to the exact point in time and space where you can capture these herons, put them in your bag, and turn them into candy. Dude, I don't know.
All right. There are two things regarding that though. One of them is like people on the train. Apart from the two men, Giovanni and Campanella, they they sometimes just like disappear. They just like there and
And then they fade
disappear.
out. Yeah,
Fade out, yeah,
yeah,
that exactly the word. Fade out like a ghost. And that guys have that quality as well.
yeah,
Uh, Secondly, though, remember when one of the person asked for the ticket and he
yep.
tried to look for it and apparently he found it. I think it's just more like that's a ticket for his dad. Like whenever
Right,
someone dead, they have that kind of ticket. That's why
right.
Giovanni's have like different kind of ticket than the others because he isn't dead yet.
Right. Yeah. That's like a tale as old as time. You always need to pay the ferrymen. Like
Yep,
when you
yep,
cross
yep.
the river Styx, you got to have the bronze coins for him or whatever.
Mm,
It's the same. I think I've seen that trope used before.
yep,
Like a train that takes you to your death and you have to give your ticket to the guy. I've seen that somewhere before.
yep,
But yeah, it's true that Giovanni's is different. And the heron candy salesman is really impressed. He's like, "That'll take you anywhere."
yep. I, I
Um,
I think that's what he mean. Like it can take him back to the real world.
yeah, yeah. For everyone else, maybe it's a one-way train.
Yep, yep. That's the impression that I got as well. I think the first half that guy included it's more about like like exploring the world that's full of wonders. So like only kids trying to see different stories, different world apart from the world they're in, and
Yeah,
then
they're like exploring. They're on a journey, and
yeah,
they're remarking to each other like, "Oh, well, let's go down here. Do you think we can get to the bottom of these steps?
yep,
Oh, let's try it. Let's go."
and 20 minutes from boarding, and they didn't actually miss it. I thought they would miss it.
Oh, you thought they would miss the train
Yeah.
in a movie called Night on the Galactic Railroad?
I don't know. Maybe they would like walk along the railroad or something.
Maybe, like in Spirited Away,
Yep.
walking along the railroad tracks.
uh, yeah, but like halfway through, it's getting more and more. Like it's more about death. It's sad. It's more
Yeah.
about like I don't know, longing. Uh, even like at the end when Giovanni learn about Campanella death, it's also about like the acceptance of the loss of the
Yeah.
friends. So it becomes like something like really more like something deeper, something profound for me.
Yeah. I would say that this film has its moments of profundity.
Yep.
I wasn't totally wrapped up in it, but
Mm.
I was interested to try to put everything together.
Yep.
I didn't really like any of the characters very much,
No, that
and I don't think that has anything to do with the fact that they were cats.
the eyes
'Cause I
are
like
big.
cats. Yeah, the eyes are big. I was okay with the character designs. I kind of liked that they were cats, and I liked the designs of the humans as well. They were kind of Ghibli-esque.
Yep.
Eyes were a little bit smaller and more spaced out.
You
Um,
do you have your favorite moment in the films?
do I have a favorite moment? I don't know. I don't know that I do.
All right, because
Probably if I. Oh, go ahead. You do yours first because you've obviously got one.
all right, I tell mine, and in the meantime, you think of yours. All right.
Yeah.
My favorite moment is when these humans victim when they get into one of the stop, and there is a song of from the New World
Yes,
begins.
I actually wrote. Yeah, I wrote that down.
And that music is just sad. It's just like the music. That music always get me every time,
Yeah.
and even like to the scenery that they have at that time. It just it
What was
just
the scenery? I'm trying to remember the context.
it's just the farm. I think it's just like the
The
field.
cornfields.
Yeah, the cornfield, and they have like before that there was like a clock.
Right. Yeah, they go past that little station in the middle of
Yep.
the cornfield. I know that song is called "Going Home."
Oh, is that? I,
Yeah.
I think that's I think that's from in like New World or something.
Yeah, from the New World, which is I think the name of the symphony from which that movement comes,
Yep.
as well as being the name of the anime that features that song.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm pretty sure that song was literally played in Japan, like over the loudspeaker at 5 p.m. to
Oh,
remind kids to stop playing and go home to their houses, to their
oh,
families.
you mean the anime?
Well, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, the anime.
all right.
But
Yeah, yeah.
also, like in real life, I'm pretty sure that used to be a practice in Japan. I don't know if it is anymore, but they would play that
Wow.
song over the loudspeaker.
Right.
That's a real thing.
Wow.
And it makes sense because of for the Titanic people, the drowning victims specifically,
Mhm.
like they are going home to be with God.
Yep.
That's why they're on their way to the Southern Cross.
Oh, and talking about that, there's there's the guy who um well the guy who go together with the kids, remember?
Oh
I
yeah, their tutor.
the tutor, yeah, and about his decision, like to not helping out those. It actually it's thought provoking as well.
Yeah, it makes sense because
It
"Nearer
makes
My God
sense.
to Thee," the hymn is about leaving, like departing Earth to go and be with God, rather than to stay.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and that's I can't imagine making that choice, man. I would
yeah.
be clinging
That
to life all the way, but
well,
he obviously comes from a different time and a different school of thought.
that's human nature, man. But I think his reason makes sense, and that's why like we can like we can hate him because of that, because of
No,
his
no.
decision not to save his two kids.
Right.
So
Yeah, well, I
yeah,
mean, I think he explains that part of his reasoning was that as their tutor, he was like entrusted with their care,
yeah.
and for them to be, I maybe I'm just imagining this, but I think he said that their parents were dead,
No, 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 no.
that
So
they had died on the boat. Is that wrong?
no, no, no. He just said like if he make them live and struggle that way, he just doesn't want them to struggle anymore. Because if they live, they're gonna be struggle like this.
Right. I thought that was part of his reasoning was that it would be a struggle for them to make it on their own, like without their parents.
Yeah,
Maybe I
maybe,
just fabricated that. I don't
no,
really remember.
maybe
But
you're
yeah,
right.
either way, that's his reasoning that life would be
Uh,
too hard and better for them to go and meet their maker
yep,
rather than to carry on and live with grief for their whole lives.
right. Another thing that struck me though is like from the beginning, you remember how we never see the face of Giovanni's mother.
Yeah,
We can
and
only
it's
see
his
her voice,
sister too.
and his sister too. I don't know if there any like significant behind that.
Well, I know of one particular bit of significance for the
All right,
sister part, but it doesn't have to do with the movie itself. It has to do with the author.
all right, yep. Oh yeah, yeah. So the sister passed away.
Yeah, his sister in real life. Yes.
Wow.
So that's probably why she's absent
Yep.
in the story. Is that I don't know. It's a way of it's a way of him representing his own,
Yep.
the void that he feels in his life. It's reflected in Giovanni's life.
Right. Right.
So that must, I mean, the fact that his mother I'm pretty sure she's like bedridden, right? She's sick
Yep.
because
Yep.
he's
She's
caring
sick.
for her.
Yep.
So he has a sick mother, an absent sister, and a father who may or may not be dead, depending on how,
Right.
how closely you're looking into things, or how whether you're over analyzing.
Yep.
Um,
And
so I mean, it kind of makes sense that the train would come for him because most of his family relationships are not super strong. He's like the things that are tying him down to
yep.
the earth. Even his relationships with his peers, like he's constantly bullied at school. He
Mhm.
works a difficult and frustrating job.
I,
So it
actually,
makes sense that the train would come and carry him away.
yeah. Actually, like at first, I thought that he think of commit suicide, so that's why like the train coming to him. That's what I thought at first, because I don't
I
think maybe that's the case, but like in the end when he get back home, it is more like like he's happy. It's more of the happy vibe that we get.
It's yeah, the how he's changed when he comes home is for me the most interesting thing about the film, and maybe that's my favorite part. In answer to your earlier question, is that he resolves to live like the scorpion, who
Yep.
who at the bottom of the well decides, uh, like light my body on fire,
Hmm.
so that I can provide a guiding light for others and bring like a little happiness and joy to their lives when they look up and see me in the sky.
Hmm.
That's he resolves to live like that scorpion, to
Hmm.
be like totally selfless and to live for others. So there's a juxtaposition I think between how he was feeling at the beginning of the film,
Hmm.
perhaps a little bit resentful of the fact that he was having to work so hard and his sister wasn't even there, and they hadn't gotten the milk, and he's constantly being teased at school, and so he probably feels like the whole world is against him.
Hmm.
But after coming back from this trip, having seen what he's seen and experienced like the full like scope of life, and
Hmm.
seen people die and seen people going to be with God and seeing people like taken away into a void from which they'll never return. His best friend even.
Hmm.
Like the only thing that he can do, the only response that he can come up with is I'm gonna live like as brightly as I can.
Hmm.
Uh, very 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 heady stuff, and I didn't really feel the impact of that decision on a gut level. I didn't feel as though he was a different person. I didn't feel that he had changed, but I know that he did. having
Yep.
watched the film.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
something that I can grasp, but only like with my higher reasoning. I don't, it didn't like really move me. So
Right.
that
Right.
I still think that's my favorite part though, because it's a very interesting journey that he goes on as a character and that the film takes us on too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Do you have any others on the notes? You have like full pages of notes for this film, right?
I'd have like a page worth, and we covered most of it already.
Wow.
Yeah, plus we just hit the hour mark in the podcast, so we still have
Yep.
to do Flowers of Evil. I
All
mean,
right.
I would say that I like the film. I doubt that I will be revisiting it anytime soon, if ever.
Yep.
But I don't regret watching it.
Yep. All right. If I have to compare about between these movies and Angel X is better for me, better experience. Leave a mark, leave a bigger mark for me. But I'm pretty sure that Night on the Galactic Railroad is pretty high on my list as well.
Uh-huh. Okay, well then this was like a great double feature for you.
Yeah. I actually think about that too. Yes. So
I think
I'm
there are
glad.
some comparisons to be made between the films as well.
Yeah.
But we could have gotten into that. I don't know if we really have time for it.
We can talk a fair bit about that before we move on to Flower Weavers, if you like.
Uh, I don't know. Do you want to?
Uh, I, I did some of the comparison before. You mean there's the similarity between the teams?
Kind of. I mean, I wouldn't say that Angel's Egg has a lot of thematic significance to it. So
It's
no, not really.
it's had a lot. We been talking about the loss of faith and all that.
I don't see the loss of faith as being a big part of Angel's Egg. I think that's like that's people
Mild.
reaching to make sense out of it,
uh,
knowing what they know about the director.
and
And I don't think that he does lose faith, Giovanni.
yeah, well, all right, but apparently, like the actor, I think the writer himself, the writer who wrote that book, he was some sort of again going through some of the religion belief while writing about that.
Losing his religion,
No, it's
REM
not
style.
losing. It's just more about questionings.
Well, in this era of Japanese history,
Yep.
like the 1920s, American influence was
Yep.
like slowly becoming stronger in Japan. So it's that probably has to do with, I mean that probably informs the Christian. What word is it? What am I looking for? Influence, I guess. Just
Yeah.
influence.
But this one is more of the Buddhism religions, not Christians.
It's what? What is?
It's Buddhisms.
Who? Night on the Galactic Railroad?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? With Nearer My God to Thee is like the central
I
musical.
I don't know,
point of
man.
the film.
I just read somewhere that it's more about Buddhisms.
Okay,
Not-
so you read
not
that
necessarily
somewhere. How does that
yeah.
how does that make it more about Buddhism? Like where's
I
the
have
Buddhist
no idea.
imagery? Where are the Buddhist philosophies?
I have no religion, man. So I don't know, man.
Oh well, what good is it to just read something on the internet and then like spit it back out? I don't. I mean it's Buddhism. I don't know about, but like in terms of this film, I can't really identify
Mm.
Buddhist influence. It could be there, but
yeah, I
there's
think
definitely Christian influence in both
that's
films.
right. That's
You got
right.
Noah's Ark in Angel's Egg,
Yep.
and you got
Hell.
everything
Yep.
in Night on the Galactic Railroad.
That's
And
right.
also there's the main similarity between the two that I noticed was in Night on the Galactic Railroad there is a repeated, like many passages of the film are silent, but there's a repeated sound of wheels clacking against a track, like "Dujun, dujun," that will sometimes play and break up the silence in Night on the Galactic Railroad.
All right.
Every once in a while. Like, it's not constant. It's not indicating like that the train is always in contact with the tracks and is constantly pushing forward. But just every once in a while, it echoes, and maybe like a minute later, it'll echo again. And I picked up something similar happening in Angel's Egg. Like, even during the quieter moments of the film, there was every once in a while like some bit of sound would come through. So like I guess the sound design of both films, I picked up some similarities, and it's embarrassing that I can't be more specific, but like Angel's Egg, I wrote down nothing at all. So just the how slow paced and how moody and at some points difficult to grasp both films are. There's some similarities.
I agree. All right, we can get to Flower of Evil now.
Okay.
Which for me is like one of these. It getting wider and angrier and more
angrier.
Extreme. Yeah.
What is like the story itself, or the characters, or what?
Yeah, I think Kasuga is getting even more desperate, more.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, I think desperate is the word I'm looking for, not angrier.
I mean, you could make an argument that that Nakamura is like angrier than ever.
Yeah.
Kasuga too, I guess, because he comes out and like says to his parents, like, "You guys are a bunch of shit eaters." Yeah.
Wow. So like last volume is more about Saki and her, like her eventually evolve into madness. This volume is about Nakamura and Kasuga themselves. Kasuga the most. Like they are stuck into the situation where they can really back off and they can move forward either. Well, they can't really back off, but Kasuga, he doesn't want to do that. And it's now like people around him, like basically everyone knows about his deed.
Yeah, because Kinoshita tells the everybody at school.
Is that I?
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
She tells everybody.
Yep.
That's why everybody knows. Like until this point, the information that different groups of people and different individuals had about Kasuga and Nakamura, it was pretty like splintered. For example, the school didn't know everything that the cops knew, and the cops didn't know everything that their parents did, and his parents were keeping things from other. I mean, they even in chapter 28, they even resolved not to tell the cops everything and just to handle things internally by grounding him. But obviously that doesn't work.
No. Yep.
The dad gets a baseball bat to the shin for his trouble.
Yep. For not reporting his kid to the police.
Right. That's what you get.
Yeah.
If there's one lesson that you can learn from Flowers of Evil, make it this: tell on your kids to the cops. Just do it. Just get it over with.
Don't crowding them, like for not going out at night. If they want to go, just let them go.
Yeah. You'll be safer that way.
Yeah.
Your kids won't, but you will.
Yeah, and Saki, in this volume, she make a last meeting to Kasuga, and basically just ask him two things. First, to just give up and tell everyone, and second,
turn himself in.
Yeah, to turn himself in, and second, maybe having another sex, but slower. That's what she said. That is that what she said?
Yeah, does she use the word slower? I don't remember that. I think she said properly.
Oh,
right?
all right.
Or something like that.
I think my book they said slower.
Oh, well, we already know like about the weirdness
I
of your
yeah yeah
quote unquote official translation.
I just don't like my book translation at all. Like some of these, I feel that the fan translation is better.
Yeah, the everything on Manga Dex after a certain point, like after chapter 25 or 26 is pretty good.
Yeah.
But, it's manga, so a lot of the stories being told through pictures, you can pick it up that way.
Yep.
Uh
So
so did you I guess did you pick up on the fact that Psyche's talking about the other side and that it doesn't exist? Like was that present in your
yep.
version?
Yeah, yep.
That's
It
something she's
does.
been on about for a long time.
Yep.
I'm hoping that we're coming to the end of the whole other side thing. Now that Nakamura even has acknowledged that it's just something that she made up. It's not a real place. You can't get there.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh.
and rather than trying to find it, you should just kill yourself. That's
Oh.
what
All right.
that's
So
the conclusion she's come to.
yep. So that's there is one bit of translation that I didn't like. Remember when Saki trying to provoke Kasuga, and he like repress her by having his hand
Oh
like
yeah, he like slaps her
cover
hand away or something.
cover her mouth, and
Oh yeah.
she said something afterwards. In
What did
my
she say?
in my book, it said like, "How about not making anyone other than me unhappy?" But I'm pretty sure that in the fan translation is better.
The I remember reading. So am I the only one you're allowed to make unhappy?
No, no. How about not making anyone other than me unhappy? Oh, is that your? Is that what it said from your translation?
Yeah, mine is. So am I the only one you're allowed to make unhappy?
Yeah,
I think the sentiment is similar in both.
yeah,
Like she's complaining that she's the only one who's being made miserable
yeah.
as a
It
result of Kasuga's actions.
it make more sense on the fan translation actually
Maybe it
for
reads
me.
a little better.
Yeah, and yep. So
But I mean
so
it's definitely not true. She's not the only one who's hurt by what he's done. I mean his
everyone
parents are
hurt.
probably more hurt than anyone.
Everyone like involved into this story hurt, and I would say that Kasuga and Nakamura is are the one that hurt the most.
Eh,
Uh,
maybe. I mean clearly they're both in pain, but they're not the victims.
uh,
Not of all the things that they've done.
all right. Yeah, yeah. That's that makes sense.
Like,
So
what kind
yeah,
of argument would you make to support the idea that Kasuga has, like, he's somehow innocent in all of this?
he's
That's
not
what people
innocent. Yeah,
assume, that Nakamura has, like, blackmailed him.
yeah.
But,
Well, she did.
yeah, well, that's true, but he's been even more adamant than her
Yep.
that they should, destroy the town or find the other side or whatever phrase he dresses it up as.
Go to the other
Because
side.
he's been so desperate to like get her approval and her attention and to save her and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So he's consciously doing all of this, making these plans to terrorize people, and he's, I don't know, like his whole thing with blaming his dad because his dad read La Fleur des Mal to him
Yeah.
when he was a kid. Obviously, that's a terrible decision on his dad's part, but
It's
that doesn't explain why his son is acting like such an idiot.
yeah. Well, he just and it's interesting to know that even now, like with Kasuga and Nakamura, their relationship is more it's more about physical now. Like act they also physical harm each other. So
Yeah,
when
the peeling off the
Nakamura,
skin.
yeah, when Nakamura told him that she want to shredding off his skin, she does it, like very literally,
Yeah, that was odd.
and she nearly bashed his bashed his head off.
Well, she just does that to gain power over him, same way she does everything else.
Right, right. Agree. Um,
She's awful.
see,
We still don't know what the deal is with her mom.
yeah, yeah,
We got a reference to it. The
yeah.
dad says she turned out just like her mother, but we still, as far as I remember, we still don't know um, what her mom was like or why exactly she's like this.
Um, how do you think all this gonna result?
I don't know. Obviously, they're not going to kill themselves because we still have 20
May,
chapters or so, 25 chapters to go, something like that.
maybe another 25 chapter is about them, in the afterlife, go to one of the railroad,
And they get on the train.
get on the train, explore the world, explore the other worlds. That's what they always wanted to do.
Right.
Um,
The other side.
see new peoples, and like maybe in the end they got back, getting better.
Maybe. Flowers on the Galactic Railroad.
uh, I'm pretty sure one thing though that you wouldn't expect what comes next.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I
it's difficult to figure out what's going to come next. They're standing on top of
I
a Yagibushi like float, and
I will say that 75% that you will be disappointed. But well, let's see.
well,
I
I doubt I'll be disappointed because I don't think that anyone's going to die or anyone's going to be killed or
all
anything
right.
like that.
Yeah. Well, we will see next week. I think 75, but I'm not gonna spoil anymore. I'm not gonna
Okay.
disinteresting you anymore.
Okie doke. Uh,
But
Kasuga is just like getting harder and harder to tolerate with every volume.
yeah.
He's
But
so annoying.
I like the way that the story keep escalate into like the level of it is now.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. I almost kept reading, because I mean they're brandishing a knife on top
Yeah.
of a tower
How
thing.
how can they finish a volume like on that note on this one?
I'll tell you how they can do it with dollar signs in their eyes. Man, everyone is gonna buy the next volume of this.
Jesus Christ! And I don't know like in the original release like how long they have to wait for the next volume.
Yeah, I don't either. Um, but I do want to know what happens next, but I don't
Yep.
know. Like
Let
Kasuga is just his whole thing with Nakamura. I'm like not that interested anymore.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah, she's mad. She's crazy.
Yeah.
And he's just being taken for a ride.
Yeah. But he's actually very determined to do that.
Yeah, he's very determined to just be like insufferable.
I think this volume not only is excel on like escalate on this stuff, but it also make make me feel that like they are in the situation where they really like can't get off. They like they don't want to expose themselves to everyone. They don't want to admit that like all the thing they did was wrong. They want to keep continue, but all we know that continue that road will lead to destruction.
Yeah, and despite that, we have 5 more volumes to go.
Well, uh, it's gonna be interesting to hear what you talk about the next volume.
All right. Well, I hope it's good.
Yeah. All right. You have like you have anything else to talk about this volume?
Yeah,
Well,
honestly, I have a lot more stuff written down, but
sorry. Yeah.
I
It
don't even really want to discuss. Like, I don't know. I'm just I do want to know what happens next, but that's pretty much it. Like, I'm not that interested in the how tormented Kasuga feels or anything like that. I he's just
yeah.
he's totally he's pretentious, you know.
Yeah.
He thinks that he's above everyone else, and he's just a child, you know. Like in chapter 30, when he's being talked to at school, you know, you see him dressed up in the shirt and the tie, and he's there with his parents, and he comes out and says, you know, everybody in this town, they're just a bunch of shit eaters. And one of the teachers says, oh, those are just the words of a middle schooler.
Yeah.
You know, I have a whole thing, like a whole paragraph of notes about how, like, you know, Kasuga, the way that Kasuga feels in his worldview is being totally rejected by everyone, and his agency is being taken away because everyone assumes that the actions that he's taken are really masterminded by Nakamura, and how Kasuga feels as though he doesn't belong because, you know, everybody seeks to invalidate how he sees the world and how he feels and stuff. I wrote all that down, but I mean, he really is just a kid who's acting stupid.
Mm.
And I'm not that interested in that anymore.
All right. Well, one thing that I think the anime now the manga now is that, you know, like the level of attraction, the level of, you know, like it's not even attraction. It's more than that. It's more like what the words I'm looking for. It's more like addiction to another level, another human, like how Kasuga just, you know, like being so so pumped up, you know, like going out at night just to meet Nakamura.
Yeah.
It might sound extreme, but it does, you know, like it actually, I think it's nailed it on that very raw feeling.
Yeah, I mean, every time there's a knock at the door or the doorbell rings, he like rushes downstairs hoping that it's her.
Yeah, that's right. So because well, I just think that this story nails on that feeling, you know, like feeling strong towards someone, still feeling like they addicted to someone, that, you know, even like a night without meeting them could be, you know, like a nightmare to them.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
but when the person that you want to meet is like insane,
well, he doesn't
then
think
that's a
that.
problem.
Yeah.
I'm just now I view, after this volume, I view the story now
Yeah.
entirely more realistically, rather than trying to find something interesting or something I don't know, something redeeming about Kasuga's character, or about the point that the author is making,
All right.
by taking him through such a terrible, you know, portion of his
Journey.
life.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking more along the lines of the teacher who says that he's just a kid,
Yeah.
because that's really who he is, and that's who Nakamura is. They're children, and something terrible has happened to them in order to make them act this way. But
Yeah.
like
I I think it make more sense in the next volume. So let's wait and see then.
okay.
I'm pretty sure that you will be surprised by what comes next. Finger crossed.
Okay. It gets better, I swear.
Hopefully. Do you have a list of the 10 show that we're gonna preview for the next seasons?
I can pull it up. I can probably do it from memory, actually.
Well, if you can, please.
Okay, let me try it. They're not going to be in the order that we listed them.
That's right.
For everybody listening, if you haven't been following us for that long, the way we do things is Mario and I each make a list, an ordered list of all the series that we want to watch and give our first impressions on, and each of our top 5 are picked. You know, and then if there's any overlap, we just move down the list.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say them in order, but the
Yep.
the 10 shows, let's see if I can get it from memory, are
Yep.
the Mob Psycho sequel,
Mm-hmm.
Run with the Wind,
Mm-hmm.
Dororo,
Yep.
Kaguya-sama Wants to Be Confessed to,
Yep.
Boogie Bop Never Laughs.
Yep.
Um, let's see. We have Rinshi Ekoda-chan, which we're doing in
Yep.
place of Wiz, just out of the running.
Yep.
Um, we're going to do the not girly Air Force, but the other one with girls and planes. I don't know the title.
Let me pull up that.
It's Kotobuki or
That-
something, right? That's the last word.
Uh, it just okay. It's Koya no Kotobuki Hikotai.
Okay. So you have it pulled up?
Yep. Yep. I had to pull up. Oh,
I
I
don't
just
know.
I
I
just
don't
put
know if
up
I
the
can finish it.
I just put up the any chat.
Oh.
So that's from the same director of Girls Panzer, and this
Right,
is
yeah, I
about
like Girls in Panzer.
yep, and this is supposed to be Girls Panzer version of airplanes.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's 3D CG though. Like
Yeah,
we'll see whether it's any good. That one might not air on time, so we might do Rising of the Shield Hero instead.
yep. How many show that you have already? 7?
I think 8. So the other ones would
8.
be Kamuri Kusa
Yep,
and the one with the novelist and the cat,
yep.
Dokyo Nin Wahiza.
You have the name right. All right.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's the 10 shows that we're gonna do.
It took me a while.
I don't even remember the name of that the last shows.
Yeah, it's actually much longer. It's the what I have written down is Dokyo Nin Wahiza, but the actual name is like Dokyo Nin Wahiza Tokidoki something else, and in English it's
Atame no Ue.
okay. In English it means like my companion is on my lap, but sometimes he's on my head.
All
Like
right.
it's just a reference to the fact that cats will jump on your head sometimes. I don't know.
All right. Remember the episodes of Baniko Senpai where he wake
No.
up with the cats on his face.
With a cat on his face.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Literally on his face.
I mean, I'm sure that happened, but I remember pretty much nothing about that show at this point, except for there was a bunch of stuff with Kaide at the end, and she
What?
wore a panda outfit.
What do you say? It's like the anime of the year.
No, we already did our anime of the year episode. That was last week.
All right. So yep, we're gonna see you next week with all these the review for the next seasons.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, hopefully at least one of them is good.
Oh,
At this
definitely.
point, I'll settle for just one, please.
I pretty much think that Mob Psycho 2 will be at least the same as the first one.
Yeah, that's almost a guarantee.
Yep.
The,
For the others,
preview
though-
looked so insane.
Yeah, for the others though, let's hope. Let's just hope.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening, guys.
Thanks a lot.
And see you next week with the preview.
Right.
All right. See
Till
ya.
then.